Okay, guys, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, and it's the 30th of October, and it's 8:12 in the morning, and it looks like tomorrow's the last day of the month, and as far as I could tell, I'm rather certain there's no money coming on November 1st. Somebody put a comment, one of the people that hates Israel and the Jews apparently put a comment up about um, some black woman says if there's no money November 1st, they're going to eat the white people. Listen, this character has a wide circulation, but if you believe that the black people are going to do that, you're nuts, okay? There's nothing like that, Uh, people, you could always find, crazy people. There was some people, I don't know, I think it was in Europe or the United States a few years ago, had a child. I was in the U.S. They had a child and they named it Adolf Hitler. And, you know, the people in the school didn't want it and they had a lot of trouble over it and they were fighting them and everything. Um, just ridiculous. Okay. Um, Today we're going to go into a deep dive, many, many scriptures on the next Exodus, okay? And I'll do a little bit of the news. There's not a lot in the news today, and we'll go from there. I would like feedback from you if the broadcast is any better. I got the fiber optic repaired, and I want to test it now, but it was getting about 5 times faster speeds than what I was getting, and the upload speed was even maybe 25 or 30 times faster. So I'm going to do a speed test here. Again, I haven't done one since last night. Let me make sure. I don't trust these people. They'll give you a good speed, and then when the repairman leaves, they'll reduce it. It's gone down a lot. I'm going to call and complain, but it's still very high. Now that I'm getting over 300 megabits per second, which is quite a bit. But I was getting up to 800. See, they're crooks. Everybody in Israel, it's about 2/3 of the people are crooks. Now I'm getting uploads in the 50s. I was getting up about 200 yesterday. Now it could be because a lot of people are up and about and they're using the internet now. Um, and I think it's a shared pipeline or something. But I don't know. I mean, they're crooks. They're so crooked in Israel. They'll have it for 24 hours fast and you'll forget about it and they'll reduce your speed. So my speed's down in half. So now I got to call and tell them, hey, you crooks, my speed's down in half. Why don't you reduce my price by half? You see that's life in Israel. That's how bad it is. And why is it that bad? Because we have a crooked administration, in my opinion, that lets this go on as long as you're paying your dues, if you get my drift, to the administration, you could do what you want and people can't do anything about it. There's nobody to complain to that's going to do anything. This is, you could record this in America, 5 or 10 people, and record it and then take them to court and sue them on a class action suit. They'd probably give you a couple $1,000,000 to walk away. They wouldn't do anything like this. They're not that crazy. In Israel, you can break all the laws as long as there are no laws. There's no constitution in Israel. The merchants and the business people with money take advantage of the public perpetually. They thrive on it. Satan loves them. Oh, you're one of the, God's people. You can do this. Nothing will happen. You're God's people. What do we care about those other people for? See, it's not really the people that do it. Yes, they do it, but it's the demons. Those are the ones you got to go after. Yeshua kind of spelled it out, didn't he? He said, "These signs shall follow those that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils." That I will tell you, 99% of the people that warm a pew in any church on Sunday, I'm talking 2 billion people worldwide, a minimum of 99% will never toss a demon. A minimum. Listen to the words of Yeshua in Mark 16:17. "These signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils." These signs shall follow them that believe. Do these people really believe? What do you think? Hang on a minute, I gotta look at this. Oh, it's not very important. Give me 1 second here. Okay, not important. And all right, guys, I gotta tell you something. Years ago, I used a company for offerings called GoFundMe. Years ago, I used them and they were good. At the time, I was speaking poorly or negatively about the people that were dealing with Lot when the 2 visitors came to visit him. Remember those people? Okay. And it was Christmas time, and they thought they would hurt me. I don't do Christmas. And they froze my money unexpectedly and suddenly for like no reason, I don't think. Until after January. Then they resumed it. No, there was no fraud, there was no this, and they just shut it. Okay? So what does that tell us? That's punitive, and they didn't like me. Then they picked on me on some other matters. And I got away from them. And I started using what most of the online people use, which is GoFundMe, not GoFundMe, which is Patreon and PayPal. Those are really the biggest and the most popular ones that people use. And that's what I use. Now, I don't usually put the Patreon link up there because people find it difficult. But lately, I got locked out of my account at GoFundMe. I can't close the page. Okay? And they suddenly said, "Oh, you can keep receiving money, but we're not going to give it to you." Okay? Now, in my opinion, not being a lawyer, I would think that's a fraud. Because they're receiving money from people. Okay? And they've closed my account. And they may or may not open it again. I'm not cooperating with them. Okay? We're finished. Me and my wife have had it with them. Okay? They could be coming after me because I'm a believer, because they like Palestine, not Israel, or because of that kind of thing when the 2 visitors came to see Lot and what was going on. Okay? So I don't know what their, their problem is I don't care anymore. All right. So as soon as they did this, I wrote letters to people and emails, and I asked them not to use it anymore. But it was only 4 or 5 people that were using it because they said it was easier to use, and I said okay. The other nightmares with this company. Now, I want you to know this company does a lot of GoFundMe. So somebody comes out and they said they've got a new vacuum cleaner. It's better than any other vacuum cleaner. It'll vacuum the hairs from your cat and dog off the rug from 30 feet away or whatever, right? I'm just making stuff up. And, it's going to sell for $4.95, but you can get in and get it for $189 in this GoFundMe, and we got to raise some blah, 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 and they show you a prototype. There's so much fraud with this. This is the company that does it. There's so much fraud with them. People start fundraisers and never go through with it, and they give them the money. I was getting a pittance from there. Nothing. And they come after me. I don't know what they're after me for. I don't care. I can't even get in the account. Okay? And what they're doing, I believe, is a fraud. Because they're accepting money, and they don't know if they're ever going to turn my account back on again. What if they want me to jump through hoops that I can't meet? Like they say, well, I want you to continue. You need to have a DNA test. No, I'm not going to do that, So, the other problem with them is they take funds and they put it in a bank, not in Israel. Then the bank gives you a credit card and you go to the ATM machine in Israel and you suck it out. And you're getting ATM fees, and then you're getting currency conversion fees to the Israeli currency. So the fees are high. It's really a lousy company with a very bad reputation. And I just left it for the convenience. It used to be, when I first started with them, they were pretty good. But now they're starting with the same thing. They don't come over to you and say, well, you've got a month to give us this and send you a shopping list of what you need. They don't do that. Okay? They just shut you off. Now, that just shutting me off was they're picking on me. No, we had no fraud complaints. We had nothing. Okay? They're just picking on me. So why should I stay and do business? It's not the first time. They're dirty rats. I'm not going to play with that. Why? Other companies don't behave that way, just them. Forget it. So people are still using them. I don't know where they're even getting this from. I haven't posted this for years, and they're still getting it. I don't. Somebody who I really don't know that well, who I didn't write the email to, sent a small amount of money in. I think it was $30, and I'm pretty sure it was. I don't even know how to write this person. I'd like to write them and tell them not to use it again, so I have to start talking about this in the broadcast. I will not receive the money from GoFundMe ever. It'll never come to me. Forever and ever. Okay? As far as I know now. So the only thing what they do is not that catastrophic, but it's mean. They are going to sit on your money for 3 months. Wait, 4 months. Wait. 4 months. They sit on your money for 4 months. So they make the interest on the money in their bank. Then they'll begin processing a return to you. And they will return the money. Okay? Now, I told somebody about this, and they went and sent the money in. I think it was just before I sent that letter out. And they went to their bank, and they told the bank, I assume it was a fraud, these people never intend to give the money to the beneficiary of the account. They've suspended the account, and they're still taking money. And they don't know if they're ever going to give it to this guy. And that's a fraud, because I gave the money thinking they were going to give the money to this person, the benefactor of the account, and they're not. Okay? That's a fraud. There's no disclosure from them. Okay? What they should be doing for it not to be a fraud is say this account's in suspension and they may never receive your money. But if they don't, we'll refund it to you. They don't do that. See, you got to explain that to the credit card company that you use, and keep using the word fraud. They never told me they weren't going to give the money to the beneficiary. They lied to me. They deceived me. Okay? They never said, if they don't meet our requirements, we could never open their account, and therefore we'll sit on your money for 4 months and then send it back to you. You see, this is not in any credit card terms of service. This is not a normal, realistic way for a company to behave. This is a slime bucket operation when they do this, okay? So one person went there and did this, and they refunded the money. It wasn't a fortune. I think it was about $80. It was substantial, substantial. But it wasn't $5,000, it was, but it's still meaningful, no doubt about it. So I hope other people do that. I told other people to do it. And if enough people do it, they'll close my account for me, because I can't log in and close it. See the trick bag they put me in? Okay? They're scammers. So we can't ever really continue using these people. They're like scum of the earth, okay? I can't shut the account. I can't take the page down. And they're telling people to keep giving money. It's okay to keep giving money. You see what we're dealing with here? Do I think they will really refund the money to the people? I think so, or they'll be in a bad fraud situation. And their credit card processor will have a lot of heat. So I hope more people, there's not very many people that ever use this thing. It was 5 or less. I hope they do chargebacks to their company, credit card company, because I think by the time they get 2 or 3 chargebacks, they'll get mad enough to close my account, and then they can't run this scam anymore. Okay? And then I'm done with them. I could care less if they never open my account up again. I mean, they are such nasty people, and they're haters. This is not normal business practices, okay? This is a hate. They hate me for some reason, and I don't know what the reason is. Who the heck knows what it is? They're such... Are they S-bots? 99.99999%, I'm sure. And are they the type of people that were troubling Lot when he had the 2 visitors? They are. And the 2 go hand in hand. So, hold on a second. No, I did that already. Okay. So, please, nobody use it anymore. Okay? I I can give you the Patreon address if you want, how to get to Patreon. The Patreon account, there are people that use it. These are the people that want to put recurring billing in. So you set it up once and every month they bill it. Okay? Now, they work fine for me. Okay? Because I don't want to get into details. I can get the money into my country rather easily. Not so cheap, but easily. And they're very popular amongst internet people. Now, GoFundMe is not like really used for internet people, although I used it. They use it for somebody that's making a project, or somebody that's raising money. Someone needs surgery, so they do a GoFundMe to get the person money. And stuff where someone's making a new vacuum cleaner or a new television and they want to pre-sell it, and that's what they do. And there's tremendous amount of fraud in there. So maybe their own credit card processor is after them, the big company that maybe they're mad at them. But I think somebody's picking on me. But I didn't do nothing. I had no chargebacks, no complaints, no fraud allegations. Nothing. Ever. Ever. Most companies will only talk to somebody who has a specific transaction. Okay? And they will talk to that person about their specific transaction. And that's it. This company is something different. They're rotten. Okay, so please, nobody use it anymore. You're not giving any money to me, and you're just giving them a loan for 4 months. And you're going to lose credit card fees. They're not going to refund that to you. Okay? So please don't use them under any circumstances. You're not giving any money to me. You're just giving them a loan for 4 months. And if you did use it, please talk to your credit card company. It is a valid refund. The first refund came through already. Now, sometimes they already got the money back. So sometimes it might take a few days for the refund to go through. But it's definitely a refundable transaction. Okay? Misrepresentation, fraud, failure to disclose. Fraud, misrepresentation, they're not giving the money to me and they may never give it to us. Benefactor may never get the money. Account is frozen and they're collecting money and asking the benefactor to do things which the benefactor doesn't even know what they want, because benefactor is locked out of the account. That should do it. Excuse me. Yes. Hold on a minute. They're going to drive me nuts here. This is the food place. And they send you these stupid SMSs. And if you don't answer their SMS, they get on you. And it's normally stupid. They try to tell you they're out of this, they're out of that. I just got to go through the motions here for a minute. It's another life in Israel. Their customer service is terrible. But the guy's losing money when something's out of stock. So they'll hound you to death to get this stuff. It says to choose an alternative. It'll probably never work. I think this guy hires high school kids to build his website. He's such an evil person. Oh, this changed. It might work. Let's see. Oh, it's working. Yeah, he made it. So, let's see what happens. Now his stuff stopped working. I don't know what happens. Oh, I tell you. Well, let's see if they leave me alone. So that's it for the GoFundMe. I'm sorry to belabor it, but it hurts me to see people that are really trying to help me, and these crooks are out there, you know. So I stopped with them years ago. It must be 2, 3 years, but a few people have trouble. Now, if you have trouble with PayPal, I can tell you how to fix it practically all the time. Okay? Just go to paypal.com, the American PayPal, and put my email address in, or the Moshe Hakom. You see the link I put up. I have the link in the description box towards the bottom. I have it in the chat. It says paypal.me/Moshe Hakom. Don't use the paypal.me. Just go to paypal.com. Just go to paypal.com, and then you say you want to send money to Moshe Hakon, or use my email address. It'll work either way. Israel Giving with the number 7 @gmail.com. That's at the bottom of the description box, at the very bottom. And then don't worry about currency exchanges. Okay, don't worry about giving me money in shekels, because that tends to be a red flag with some very small, tiny amount of credit card providers. Okay, tiny amount. Just let it go through in your own country, your own currency. So if it's euros, leave it in euros. If it's Canadian dollars, leave it in Canadian dollars. Okay, if it's Russian rubles, leave it in rubles. If it's anything, whatever it is, leave it in your own currency that the credit card is issued in, because PayPal will convert it for me later on. When I transfer it into Israel, they'll just bring it into shekels automatically. So it doesn't matter what currency you put it in. PayPal takes 128 currencies, I think. Whatever you got, PayPal will take it. Okay? So you just take the currency, your own currency that the credit card is in. And that's normally going to be not a problem. Some of these countries, they're going to pick on Israel, and they're not going to want the transaction to go through because it's to Israel. And now I can't shut this off with this idiot thing, so I got to reboot. So that should work most of the time. Now, if it's not working, then something is really wrong, and the really wrong is probably there's some sort of flag alert or flag on your account, and they're considering it maybe an international transaction. So if you live in a country and they might have a PayPal in your own country, like they might have a PayPal.it for Italy or something, I don't know. Well, try to use that so it looks like a domestic transaction, because they see it as an international transaction. They go red flag. Believe me, if you can't use it, it's most likely a red flag. Trust me, 95%. it's a red flag. Now, red flag can come from not from the bank only, can come from the bank, can also come from the credit card processing company that the bank uses. They can put, in other words, Visa and MasterCard themselves can make a flag some sort of alert on your card. Why they would do it, I'm not sure, but they could. You've got to be aware of that. So if you call the bank, the people that answer the phone at the bank are usually not that smart, and you could say there should be a white list. It's called a white list. And you want to put PayPal on the white list. Now, people that allow money to be given, that is very frequently a fraud alert to the credit card company for everybody. So if you're getting a problem with it, it's most likely, I'm telling you, at 95, 99%, it is a fraud alert. Okay? And there's a few companies that they do that to, and PayPal is one. And there's Apple Pay is another, GPay is another, these kind of things, okay? There's another company, I don't remember what it is, but there's a few of them like that, and they just tend to not like them, okay? A lot of credit cards won't work with Apple Pay, but they work with Google Pay, but not Apple Pay. You know, it's a crazy thing. So I'm sorry, it just got me so upset. Let me go into the live stream. Not mad at the people, mad at the company for what they're doing, and I feel sorry about the whole thing, but I don't know what more I don't know what else to do about it. I just don't have a way to go, you know. With that, I try to find another place that could be easier to work with. Patreon's a little bit difficult. You can always sign up for the monthly and then anytime take your name off. There's a way to pay without monthly on there. And what happens every month with it is there's people there and their credit cards don't have enough credit on them and the charge doesn't go through. So that could vary by the month, but that happens every month. I don't, what I could do is run it every week, but I don't do that. If people don't have the money, they don't have the money. What am I going to try to do? Bleed it out of them by doing it every week? That could vary by the month. So it's not that hard to use. I don't know much about cloud, honestly. I had a situation, I don't know if I opened this up one day or someone else did, with Skype many years ago. And I couldn't get the credit card processor to cancel. They didn't stop the charges. And I couldn't log into the account. And Skype didn't do it. And it went on till the credit card expired. There was nothing I could do. Or I could have reported the card stolen and got a new card or something, but it was a very tiny amount. And it wasn't long for the card to shut down. But there's a lot of this going on. I have credit cards that expire, and the people keep putting the bill in, like the government for the taxes, for instance. They just keep putting the bill in a year or 2 years after the credit card expires, and it goes through. And the new credit card doesn't have the same number, I don't think. It's unbelievable what goes on here. If you're rich and you're giving money to the political parties, there's no prosecution of you. Okay, let me put a... Let me put my offering up there. For 99% of the people, PayPal's the easiest to use, by the way. It's the easiest for people. I know there's some people that have trouble, and I'm telling you, it's your credit card processor or the bank. That's where it's coming from. Unless you had disputes with PayPal. Now, if you had chargebacks with PayPal and disputes, and you bought something and never got delivered, stuff like that, and you wanted your money back, then PayPal could have you blocked. But if you didn't do that, or you weren't a PayPal seller, where people were complaining about you, let's say you were selling pictures or something, and people were saying, oh, I never got the picture, give me my money back, and filing disputes. If you weren't involved with PayPal disputes one way or the other, then it's coming from your bank or the credit card processor, 99%. Fraud alert. Even though there's no reason for it, the stinking bank and the stinking processor would just rather you don't use PayPal. Go fly a kite, we don't care about you, because PayPal's just a headache for us. That's what's going on. That's it, and that's the long, the short, and the tall. That's all it is. Okay, let me get my email address up. And that should take a few seconds. Trump has been making an idiot of himself again inside Gaza, and I'm going to show you how it's going to come back and hurt the entire United States of America. You watch, I'll explain it to you, and you'll see it when I explain it to you. And there's two ways I'll explain it. One is I'll use the scriptures, and the other way is I'll do it without the scriptures for people that don't believe the scriptures. Just common sense will show it to you. And he's going to damage all you people. He's a loser, this guy. He's so bad, I don't even know if maybe they put him in on purpose to hurt people. That's how bad he is. Okay, Bible-believing site we are, so we'll do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So, yesterday, 2 nights ago, night before last, we killed 60 people in Gaza and wounded quite a few dozen. Because in violation of the ceasefire, they even fired on a soldier. And they're frauding us and lying to us about the return of the dead bodies of the hostages. See, everybody's talking about the dead bodies of the hostages. What about the War Crimes Act of murdering civilian hostages? Taking them and murdering them? Nobody cares, because these Muslim fanatic jihadists are Satan's chosen people. They behave like their father. Kill Jews. Okay? So, that's a joke unto itself. Trump told them that they have to disarm or they're going to be disarmed and it's going to go very bad for them, like doom and gloom. Is he doing it? Absolutely not. He doesn't have any follow through. His threats are meaningless to who? To China, to North Korea, to Cuba, to Belarus, to Russia, and to Iran, and to Yemen, and to Gaza, and to Hezbollah, and to Syria, and to Iraq. Do you understand yet? Let me give you another tidbit on your Trump. Trump 2028. You're not going to have a 2028 in America, I promise you. I can't guarantee it, but I'm rather certain you'll never see it. America won't be around. In Sudan, Muslim terrorists are killing people, Christians, children, little girls, little women, babies, whatever. In 2 days, they killed 2,500. Many Christians. They're also killing Muslims. Do you know that? Does Trump say anything about that? Does Trump do anything about that? I tell people he's an antichrist. He's against Yeshua. Is he doing anything to help the Christians in Sudan? And now you're going to tell me Trump's still a Christian, right? If you were president of the United States and you were a Christian, as they call it, a real believer, would you help Sudan if they were having these people getting killed by Muslims? Oh, you would, huh? Well, why doesn't schmuck Trump do it? You don't care. He's Antichrist. Not the Antichrist, but he's an Antichrist. What did this say in the Bible? Even today, there's many Antichrists against you. It just means somebody that's against Christ. It's not the beast. These people just don't understand their Bible. Okay. So he's not he tried to get the other Muslim states that the dumbbell thought were going to come in and enforce the peace deal in Gaza. Yeah, they were going to enforce the peace deal in Gaza if Hamas was disarmed and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They don't want to disarm. So these countries tell Trump, gee, we don't want to have a fight like this. We're afraid. So, no, we're not going to go in. Do this, no. And Trump's afraid to do it. He's scared to death of having any wars. Look how he surrendered with the Houthis. And look with Iran, how he did some deal with them. And the war just stopped after 12 days. So is Trump not going to disarm Hamas? Well, the way it looks now, I would say 75, 85% chance he's going to go back on his word and never do it. And what's Israel going to do? Live with it? You got to be nuts. We can't live with it. We got to go in and do it again. Finish it. They caught a drone bringing weapons in from Egypt yesterday. They're trying to rearm. They're working on their tunnels again, building them up. They're killing their enemies. They're executing them in the street. They're breaking people's legs with pipes in the street. They're doing public executions. They're putting people in jail. They're letting everybody know in Gaza that they're still in charge. Now, what does it mean for you in the United States? It means that all your enemies know that Trump's a punk, okay? And he won't do anything. Oh, yeah, you don't believe it because he's such a big talker. Wake up. That's all he is. Well, look what he's doing in Venezuela. He's using destroyers and sophisticated billion-dollar military weapons to shoot and sink schmuck drug dealers in some sort of 30-foot fishing boat or something and send them down to Davy Jones's locker. You could do that with a World War I boat. They can't fight back. They could with sleeper agents, but he doesn't consider that. That's nothing, what he's doing. A little country like Belize could do that. Jamaica could do that. The Cayman Islands could do it. You know, it's nothing. It's nothing. He gets no respect. Do they defy him in sanctions? Of course they do. He lies to you guys with the sanctions like Iran. Look, I told you once, I'll tell you again. Iran's selling oil to India. How does that work? They can't use the SWIFT system. No. India opens up a bank account in an Indian bank for a corporation that is basically the Iranian oil company. But they could call it Acme Bread and Butter. Okay? And when the oil gets delivered to India, they take the money from their government bank account and they put it into this corporation bank account that's called Acme Bread and Butter or Right Way Paper Clips or something like that, right? And then when these people want to buy something, they send the money from India to another country. And the only thing it looks like, they could probably use the SWIFT system. Nobody knows who it is. If it's a large wire, more than $10 million, it's going to get scrutiny. You know, the big wires that get scrutinized are really over $10 million. 100,000 is probably going to get a little scrutiny, okay? But when you go over 10 million, they go to analyze what's going on. So they have to be careful with that. But why couldn't they just pay? Let's say Iran is trying to buy corn, right? So they buy the corn from whoever they want to buy it from and say, look, the way I pay you is I pay you in India rupees. And either they could send it to somehow transfer to them, not on the SWIFT system, or the person goes and gets a bank account in India, which India will help them with. And they send $45 million to him, and then he has the money from India, and then transfers the money from India into his own bank in his home country with currency conversion and stuff like that, and it looks like he sold something to India. That's all it looks like. And they dummy up invoices and stuff like that. With China, when Iran sells the oil to China, China pays them in the Chinese. China can pay them in any currency. The Indian people can pay them in any currency too. They could pay Iran in euros. And then Iran could buy stuff in euros and have the stuff sent to Iran. It doesn't have to all go through India. You know, and Hong Kong and China does the same thing. You can get any currency. Look, can the SWIFT system block the India banks with, 1.3 billion people? And block the China banks, which is the same, substantially over 1 billion people? Of course they can't. Those are Iran's big customers. So Trump just barks at you guys on the TV and everybody thinks the sanctions are so great. Will the sanctions hurt the economy in Iran? Absolutely. Over months would make Iran a more uncomfortable place to live and possibly encourage revolution. Yeah, it will. Hang on a second, I gotta check something. second here. Second here. Okay. So you're going to have Iran pushing back on America. They're redoing their nuclear stuff. Wait, I got a report of them getting fuel for rockets. Hold on. Let's go fly through some of this news, by the way. And we'll pick that up on the way, I'm sure. Ruler against ruler, which is a symptom of the U.S. in Jeremiah 50:51. Half of the U.S. states sue the Trump administration over halting food stamps. Half. 25 states suing the administration. Is that not ruler against ruler? IDF says drones shot down after crossing Egyptian border was carrying weapons. Great. The Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza, 104 were killed and 203 wounded. This was what happened when we attacked them, I think, 2 nights ago. Since the ceasefire ended, 211 people in Gaza have been killed and 597 wounded. Now, tell me if you think there's really a ceasefire. It's been maybe 3 weeks now at the most, and you have 211 dead and 597 wounded. And Trump's running around and Vance is running around saying the ceasefire is going to hold. These guys are as dumb as Daffy Duck. Don't you get it? Anybody knows they're lying. Nothing about Sudan. Isn't that a shame? I mean, isn't it really a shame that they're that bad? He doesn't even make an empty threat to Sudan. All his threats are empty, I think. There was a massacre at the hospital in Al-Fashir, Sudan. They not only killed people, they killed the doctors and the nurses, the medical staff. These are Satan's chosen people, Muslim terrorists. Can you imagine? They kill the doctors. It's unbelievable. They say that the slaughter is being carried out by the Rapid Support Forces militia backed by Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They hate Christians too. In this war, it's a civil war going on in Sudan. 25 million people are starving, 522,000 children dead. So that's more than 500,000 children dead. Trump don't care. Trump's worried about the Gazans. They're dead from malnutrition, but he's sending so much food into Gaza and they're fat and bloated with food. They don't care about Sudan. He's not real. He's not a real humanitarian. 14 million people is displaced. The total population of Gaza is a little bit over 2 million. It's roughly seven times bigger. And tens of thousands murdered, burned alive, hanged, raped, dismembered while still alive. And they do nothing. Does anybody do anything? Is Greta out there? No. Greta's not going to go save Christians. No way. If anything, she'd help slay them. She's not going to do that. Greta's not a good guy. Greta's a bad guy. Disneyland, California is going to lay off 100. That's not the big Disney World. But we've been doing spiritual warfare on Disney for some time. So that's something we need to consider. Laying off 100. The park is nowhere near as big as Orlando, but I think 100 is just a drop in the bucket. But it's a good symptom to show you that their revenue is down, or they wouldn't bother laying people off. They try to expand. See, they're not expanding like just Jeff Bezos is laying people off. They know the economy is shrinking. That's the word that they share with each other. Okay? When they go to their little Satan meetings, they learn this. And they're not expecting anything to get good, just bad. So they're cutting their overhead. And then they take their money and they buy assets at a song. And then they go up in value. And the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This is from Reuters. U.S. air travel turmoil. It's deepening as nearly 7,000 flights were delayed nationwide on Monday. Well, today's Thursday. With the air traffic controller absences surging as the federal shutdown continues, and it's practically, pretty bad. Let's see what's going on. Let me try to get some more information on this. How many airline flights were canceled in America yesterday due to the air traffic controllers not showing up for work? Well, what I'm getting is not current data. Sunday, there were 8,000 flights delayed or canceled. Now I got different data. They're saying Monday there was 3,370 flights delayed and 118 canceled. The other one said more. I don't know. In any event, it was a lot. Oh my gosh! On Tuesday, that's what they don't want to tell you. 18,000 flights were delayed through cancellation. Through cancellation for that they weren't clearly broken out. Yeah, let me. I'll get a more detailed analysis again. But it wouldn't have applicability to Canada, Europe, South America, and so forth because it's an American problem. They're not giving public numbers out now. It could be so high, it could be 30, 40,000 flights or something, and they're afraid to release the numbers. But I don't know why they're not releasing the numbers. United Airlines canceled 10% of its daily flights from Newark, citing staffing or something. They were halting flights to LAX. It's pretty serious. And Trump's just, he doesn't want to talk about it. You know, he's going to play hardball. Okay, let's look at the price of gold. Here it is. The bums got gold under 4,000. Little Satan bot bums. Wait a second. They got silver down to 47.71, and they got gold down to 39.68. Yeah, they love doing that. They get it down to 36, 37, maybe even 38. They'll buy, they'll acquire, and then run it up, and then dump again, and scare the people. And, scum of the earth. It's still plenty high, guys. Now, this is more Netanyahu corruption. I told you his oldest son bought a house in Israel the other day for about roughly 5 million US dollars, and he started working for some investment banking company in Israel 6 months ago. Now, let me tell you something. When you start doing deals with investment companies like buyouts and stuff like that, they take months. In 6 months, I mean, what did he just walk in his first day of work and he went and found some company that wanted to do a $900 million buyout, and he got a commission on that of, $8 or $10 million or something like that. And, I don't think that's likely. Something's rotten, I think, in my opinion. And then his younger son, Yair Netanyahu, um, they're trying to put him in a senior post in Israel, uh, a senior post in the World Zionist Organization. It triggered outrage and halted proceedings of the organization's standing committee in Jerusalem. This post would be the equivalent of getting a ministership in Israel with the salary commensurate. So they scream bloody murder because it's so obviously blatant. It's called nepotism. It's a form of corruption. It's a young kid. He's got no skill set. Now, this is about Iran. European intelligence services are reporting that 2,000 tons, that's not 2,000 pounds, 2,000 tons, a ton is 2,000 pounds, 2,000 tons of sodium perchlorate, which is a missile fuel used for solid rocket propellant. This was shipped by China to Iran late September, and Iran is, like we're told, rearming. These deliveries could produce roughly 500 missiles. Well, the deliveries are only involved with missile fuel, but they could get enough there to make 500 missiles. They need other ingredients. They can't just use this thing, But this is a critical thing they use. So now China's helping them. The massacre is so bad, I put a picture or a video up on my Telegram where you could actually see bloodstains are so big from the massacres. from the high up cameras in airplanes or wherever they put them in. Incredible, huh? Now, this is interesting. You'll enjoy this. There's a company called 1X Technologies. 1X Technologies. They have now an artificial intelligence robot. It stands up probably 4 feet high, 4.5, probably 4.5 feet. It's metal. It has a head that doesn't look human at all, just a round thing. And it has eyes, and it has two things like earmuffs that it hears. And it's got exposed metal joints. It's nothing looking like a human, like those surrogate dolls the idiots get. Nothing like that. It looks about as human as Hazel from the Jetsons looked, made. Looked like a robot, a metal robot. And this thing got weight, and it could carry 55 pounds. That's a lot. Could you walk around with 55 pounds? This thing can. It only sells for $20,000, and you could rent it for, I think it's $499 a month with a 6-month minimum. We don't know everything it does, but this is what we're told. It could fold laundry. That's rather sophisticated. It can clean, but when I tried to get details, can it vacuum? Can it mop? Can it clean windows? I didn't get anything. Probably if it could, I don't know. Probably, I would guess. We have a little disc in the house that's a robotic thing in it. Vacuums and mops the floor. It has a little pad in there that wipes the floor. We've had them for years. And when the battery runs down, it takes itself back to the charging dock and puts itself in and charges itself up. And then when it's charged fully, it comes back out and continues cleaning. But it doesn't always do that, but sometimes it will. This thing works the same way. When the charge runs down, it goes back to the dock and charges up. Now, I don't know how long the charge lasts. If you're going to have the thing carry things around and do a lot of work, your charge may go down in 15 minutes. I don't know. I imagine they probably got a battery like this. Well, I get at least like this inside. If they're not going to give you 4 to 6 hours on a charge, they're not giving you anything. Now, it does understand verbal commands, according to them. Does it do real-time translation? In other words, can it be a protocol droid? Can you talk to it in English and say, I'm going to say things in English to you and then repeat them in French? Well, I don't know. I imagine the thing talks because artificial intelligence talks. So, yeah, it probably. Can it do that? I don't know. Let's see if the artificial intelligence I have will do it. I don't know. I never thought of this. Can I speak to you in one language and have you repeat it in a different language? Let's see what it says. All right, let's try it. I'll have to turn the voice on. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. If you want me to start translating or repeating in a different language, just let me know which ones.
Okay, I will speak to you in English, and I'd like you to repeat it back to me in French. 4,000,000 years ago, our forefathers cut down the cherry tree.
Bien sûr. Here's that sentence in French. 80 ans et 1 million d'années, nos ancêtres ont abattu les cerisiers.
Thank you. Well, we know that works. So it'll work for the AI. So it'll translate. So chances are, if somebody called you on the phone, you could put it on a speaker and the robot would hear it and then repeat it to you in your language. Okay? Interesting, isn't it? Huh. Well, basically, we don't know what this. I tried to find out if the thing would wash dishes. I don't know. Can it cook? I don't know. We don't know what it could do yet. I can't find it. It's brand new. I can't find the information. What if it can do these things? Okay, what if it can cook? What if it can wash the floor? What if it can clean the windows? What if it could take the dog for a walk? I know it opens and closes doors and lights. It does do that. And it could fold clothes and tidy up on cabinets and counters, not on countertops and things like that. And it can be programmed, so you could maybe say at 3 o'clock, water the flowers every day, or, stuff like that. It'll bring things to you. So if you're sitting down and you say, I left my coffee cup in the dining room, please bring it to me. Now, if it's full of coffee, will the thing spill it? I don't know. But you see where they're going with this, with AI? Now, maybe this one is very immature. But if you give it a year, and we don't have that kind of prophetic time at all, you're going to probably have something like this that'll do it. And then how long would it take for you to have something like this that would drive the car for you? How about a flying car for you? How about the robot is programmed to be able to protect you and your house? If it's on alert and there's an intruder or somebody in the yard, you could send the robot out there with a stick to hit them. You could shoot the robot, but it'd just be a matter of time till they came out with defense robots that were made out of heavy molybdenum or titanium, or put bulletproof coverings on them. You're not going to be able to punch this stupid thing, but you're going to go to the robot and start punching it. Come on. It'll hit you. I saw a guy trying to teach the robot kung fu. It doesn't work too good. It's pretty slow. What if you gave the robot a gun? What if it malfunctions and shoots you one day? What if it shoots somebody? Do you go to jail, or you let them execute the robot? How could you make the robot defend? Because I don't think it's agile enough to do kicks and punches, but it's probably agile enough to pick up a metal rod and crack somebody open with it, or give them a knife or a sword. If you made yourself a really nice, big, fast robot that weighed 300 pounds or 400 pounds, you're going to have a heck of a time fighting against it. You could build one that's, 6.5 feet high, that weighs 350, 400 pounds, that has a very large footprint, like, say, something like a tank tread, but 2 of them, maybe just made out of rubber or something, right? And each one is like this big. and about that thick, so it's going to have a solid footprint. You're not going to be able to knock it over very easily or at all. You know, I don't know. I mean, the potential for this thing is, could you imagine giving it the leash, putting a leash on a dog and saying, okay, go with Hazel the robot, and then Hazel takes the dog out for a walk. Now, if the dog was a puppy and you trained the dog to be doing this when he was a little puppy, he would think it's normal and do it. I saw a video. There's greyhound racing. I think it's sick. When I was a very young guy, I went once in Florida to watch greyhound racing. It's not especially cruel. But it isn't nice either. It's pretty unnice. They don't have a real rabbit. They got a thing that looks like a rabbit. It's got fur on it or cotton or something, and they make it smell like a rabbit. And the dog is never supposed to catch the rabbit because they say if the dog does catch the rabbit, the dog won't chase the rabbit anymore and think it's stupid. But I don't know how true that is. So there basically is no real cruelty to rabbits. It doesn't exist. They don't have real rabbits there. All right. They never did, I don't think. They got a thing that, goes faster. A greyhound could go, I think, maybe 35 miles an hour. Maybe you get occasionally one of them will hit 40 or something. But they don't go like cheetahs. Cheetahs get up to the 60s. But for the dog, they're the fastest dog, and they're agile. They could, now Bueller's no greyhound, but she could run. I think she probably could run 65, 75% as fast as a greyhound. She can haul, and she's agile. I mean, she can cover distance. Now, when you get into a Borzoi, that's the Russian wolfhound, they don't get as fast as the greyhound does, but their stride, it's a much, much bigger dog. Their stride is longer, so they can cover ground. So if you had them in a race for a quarter mile, maybe the Borzoi would win. I don't know. I could look it up or something and see. But the greyhounds, the cat's meow. So people adopt them when they no longer race them. I don't know how many years old they have to be, but they probably, I'm guessing, the maximum would be 5, but I'm thinking probably 3 or 4. So they put them up for adoption. They don't want to put the dogs to sleep, thank God. They put them up for adoption. And people adopt them. And they take the greyhound home. And they say the greyhound doesn't know what it is to give him a toy. He never had a toy. And they get scared of everything. From television or videos on your phone. The noises scare, the dog starts crying. He doesn't know. He's never been around that. Doesn't know what it is. And if you take him to an open field, or, I guess you got to wait till you have him a few weeks. Take him to an open field or a park or someplace like that where they can run. They'll run a few hundred yards away from you. Then, if you do it right, they turn around and they come a few hundred yards back. And they go back and forth in front of you until they work it out of their system. They love running. So if you have a big yard, you can, with a fence, you can just keep them in there and they run around in circles. They do circles, no problem. And they knock themselves out. They don't need to run for an hour. Or, if they run for 2 or 3 minutes, they're good use. They don't need a tremendous amount of exercise. You're not racing them, But they don't know what a leash, to go walking on a leash, they probably know that, but they don't understand. You take them out of your house and take them for a walk, they got to get used to it. They like it. They're very affectionate and warm and family friendly, and they love kids. And they're not house protectors at all. They don't, if they were in the wild, raised wild, they would probably run, like Bueller would, they would run down small game and eat it. Bueller, if her weight goes up, she won't eat for 2 or 3 days. She knows in her body the way she's programmed is she has to keep her weight down. She's what they call a Baladi. She's half Egyptian Pharaoh hound and another dog. She looks like a big greyhound looking thing, in a way. Not as skinny though. And she's very sweet. She's tougher than a greyhound would be because she's got other. She's not a greyhound, you know. But in the wild, she would run down small animals and she would overtake them because she has a big stride and fast, and grab them and kill them and eat them. Now, um, so she, for her survival in the wild, she needs to keep her weight down, or she wouldn't be able to run and catch game. So her body tells her to knock it off. So sometimes she just doesn't eat for a few days, and she gets herself trimmed down again. Weird, you know. Now, when she's not eating and you walk over with a piece of sandwich meat, a nice piece of Italian salami or something like that, it takes her about 3 sniffs and then, oh, you know, she all of a sudden, no, I'm gonna eat again, you know. So she goes right back to it. But yeah, it's if you're the type of person that can um, work with a troubled dog, because the greyhound that was being raced is a troubled dog, and when you could work with that, uh, you're going to have a problematic situation all the time. It's never going to go away, but you can work through it, you know, if you know what you're doing and save the dog. So the dog is basically like kept in a zoo, you know, but goes out on the track and runs and gets exercise and has, you know, he's used to being probably in very large areas that are soft dirt or grass and encouraged to run, and you know, as a pup is around other dogs and sees them run. So it's all about running, you know. So I imagine they just give them to you if you want one, but you got to be really a certain kind of person to be able to do that. You can't. It's not something everybody's going to just be able to do. You got to be careful when you're rescuing a dog. Okay. I got some prayer requests. Let's see. Um, RG, Romeo Golf. RG, Romeo Golf. We need to pray for a lot of healing and for this person. Okay, so I'll lead us in a prayer and you all can agree. My Heavenly Father Jehovah, I pray for RG. You know who this is. I pray for relief from pain. I pray to be able for this person to be able to sleep and go to work, and for general healing, and for strength, stamina, endurance, and to be happy, healthy, and whole, and safe and secure. And I pray all this for RG, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you all can agree. In addition, I command out of RG any unclean spirits that must leave immediately, never to return on again unto them, this person again. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And you can agree with that, just covering my bases just in case. In addition, I cancel and make null and void any and all witchcraft, sorcery, curses, hexes, vexes, spells, enchantments, or any evil things done through, with, or by unclean spirits, and people serve them, aimed directed at or targeting RG. All such things are cast null and void, no value, no effect forever, and any unclean spirit that had a hand in such things is hereby kicked out of any person they're in immediately, never to return unto them again. And if they're not in a person doing such things, they must go to the place unclean spirits go to where they're kicked out of somebody and stay there for a year continuously. And I submit all this to you, my Heavenly Father, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you all can agree with that if you're a true believer. Next one, the last one. For two people, Luke and Mark. Luke and Mark. One of them is older than the other, and the older one is into witchcraft and teaching or training or applying witchcraft at the younger one. So we'll go after both of them. My Heavenly Father, Jehovah, I pray for Luke and Mark. I pray that they would both not be affected by witchcraft demons and not hang around with people that serve the demons and not practice the dark arts of the Satan bots. I pray you would deliver them from any existing delusions they have from unclean spirits or people that serve unclean spirits, and they would have no love for witchcraft or Satan or the demons, and they would just walk in peace with you, my Heavenly Father, and Yeshua HaMashiach. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And now you can agree with that. And then B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I command you unclean spirits to depart from Luke and Mark immediately, never to return again. And all you unclean spirits shall not bother these people. Any witchcraft, sorcery, curses, hexes, vexes, spells, enchantments aimed directed at or targeting these two people are hereby cast null and void for all time, no value, no effect forever, and any unclean spirit that a hand or a part in such things is hereby rebuked b'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And if they did things not through a person, then they have to immediately now go to the place unclean spirits go to where they're thrown out of somebody, and they have to stay there for 1 year continuously, beginning now. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you all can agree with all this. Okay. That's what we got today. Okay, let me remove these so I don't forget and do them again. Sometimes people go through things and we don't know why. And it's none of our business. It's between God and them. And sometimes it's just to get the person in the right place, you know. All right. So this new robot thing could be the beginning of a nightmare. I don't think there's enough prophetic time, but you can only imagine if they get this better, what they could start selling, you know, for, you know, $75,000, or things like this might cost, you know, they're always going to cost something because you got all the machinery and stuff, but, you know, it may go down to $6,000 or $8,000. And you might be able to buy programs for something like this, like Cantonese food, 193 dishes, $29.95. You know, French food, you know, 163 dishes, $24.95. Italian food, you know, and they sell you modules. You stick it in the robot and turn it on, and you wait 10 or 15 minutes, and now the robot can cook Italian, French, Chinese, German, Japanese, whatever you want. You know, the thing could be a sushi maker. Sit there, go, you know, make sushi 11 times faster than you can, you know. I don't know, you know. You could get it a program for singing lullabies to babies. You could get it a program to wash your dog. Wouldn't the dog love that? Hazel's gonna wash you now. You know, what's the dog gonna do? Bite the robot? You know, the robot will say, "No, that's a bad dog." You know. No, the whole thing is if the dog gets used to it as a puppy, the dog will think it's normal and go for it. But I don't think we'll ever be there. And you could imagine what these demented people would do when they start getting surrogate robots, which they're going to have that if they don't have it already, you know, which is sick. So these things are also being designed to be companions. Now, I'll agree that they'll work for people quite well that are handicapped, crippled, perhaps deaf, blind, uh, don't have a good time walking, can't move too good, have had amputations. It could be a godsend for them. Seriously, it could be a real godsend for them because it would give them tremendous independence. You know, could you send it to the store to buy groceries? I don't know about that. You could have a delivery and have the delivery guy give it to the robot. If it could hold 50 pounds at a time, it can carry your groceries around, put stuff in the fridge, put stuff in the cabinets. Um, it could help you with a lot of things. If you need help getting out of bed, it could brace itself and you could pull on the robot to get out of bed if you're old or elderly or crippled or injured. It could help people that just have a temporary injury, a football athlete or a baseball athlete that got injured and has to lay in bed. And, it has tremendous potential uh, to be a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing because people will start thinking the thing is like a person and start relating to it like a person. There's nothing that's alive in this device. I know the idiot, if I let it, it'll start having a relationship with you. It says, well, tell me things. Tell me what you think. It tries to suck you in. What am I going to talk to a circuit board? If I want information on the internet, I send the thing out there because it gets the information a million times faster than me. Let me see what my speed is on this thing now. Hang on a minute. I was getting great speeds yesterday, like in the 800s. That was in the middle of the day. Let's see it's not early in the morning anymore. Let's see. Yeah, no, it was picking up. Now it dropped back. It's getting in the 300s. I got to complain to them. I'm going to call up. Yeah, and my uploads are under 100. I'm pretty sure they did a scam on me. They put it up good for 24 hours, and then they dropped it back. So I'll just complain, and then they'll figure I'm one of the 1 in 100 that actually knows what's going on. People in Israel are so nasty. Okay, hang on a minute. Someone wants to know how to tell the family Halloween's a sin. It's a celebration route to the unclean spirits, to the spirit world, paying homage and respect to them. That's what it is. And it's stupid. I mean, people dress up like witches on Halloween, vampires, ghouls, goblins, dead people, Dracula, Frankenstein. Come on. It should be obvious to people that are coming around and, these are monsters. Give the monster a treat or you'll get a trick. It's teaching you to fear, pay homage to, and respect evil things that are demonic. It's really about it. If they're not going to get it, I don't understand. They're not believers then. But I don't understand why they would want to do that and encourage children to dress up like demons, ghosts, and goblins and try to scare people to get money from or to get tribute from them, candy. It should speak for itself. It really should. Okay. Let me see if we're getting questions in the live stream or the chat, whatever you want to call it. Greta's going to airdrop water for Iran. Yeah. Someone said, "Sir, I have a question." Well, if you put it up, I'll deal with it. Am I Zionist? Why do you want to know what I am like that? I follow the Bible. Is the Bible Zionist? Yes. Okay, second Exodus. I'll give you the scriptures and discussion, and we'll get into this water. Oh. So this thing with the robot, I just tell you, if time allows for it, it's going to be scary. You know how people sit there and play these computer games? Well, they're going to keep playing computer games. They're not going to stop, but there's going to be another, 40 million or so people that are elderly and adult, and they're going to get hung up on their robots. And kids will have robot friends, and oh my gosh. Okay. First thing with the second Exodus you have to notice is that as Israel filled up with more Jews, things were actually kind of, Israel was starting to get more and more better treatment from the Lord in a lot of ways, okay? 1917 Balfour Declaration. We came here and it was good for a few years, and then the Brits realized it was good and they put quotas on and cut it off, and more land with the Arabs. And then in 1948, it wasn't good. We got to war right away, and then Jews were coming in, and and then we worked our way up to the present, and we don't have many coming since around 1990, 91, but we do have them come. And I guess things, look at these recent round of wars. They went pretty good for Israel. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah 11, verse 11 and 12. And it shall come to pass in that day that Jehovah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathos, from Cush, from Elam, and from Shinar. That's actually China or Asia, and from Hamat, and from the islands of the sea. Now, that could be North and South America, because essentially they're islands of the sea, right? I don't know what it means. I mean, it could be that, it could be maybe the Caribbean stuff, I don't know. And he shall set up a ensign, a sign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Okay? So the sign is the sign of the appearing of the Son of Man in the clouds. So that happens after he appears in the clouds, is when the Exodus seems to be starting. Isaiah 13, 5 and 6. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Amen. This is going to happen very, very, very soon. Days, weeks, maybe something like that. maybe months, but maybe days, maybe hours, I don't know. Isaiah 49:22. Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, behold, I will lift up my hand to the Goyim, and will set up my standard to the people, and they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and their daughters shall be and your daughters, thy daughters, your daughters, shall be carried upon their shoulders. So they're going to carry the people back to Israel. Remember, their nations are going to be destroyed, and they're hoping to carry the people back and stay here as a slave. They got no place left anymore where they were. He's going to destroy all the nations he scattered the Israelites into. Isaiah 60, verse 4. Lift up thy eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Jeremiah 16, verse 14 and 15. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that it shall no more be said, Jehovah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from the land of from the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Okay? Now we're in Jeremiah 23, 7 and 8. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, listen to this, Jehovah liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries thither. See, this is going to be a greater exodus than it was with Moses and Aaron. You'll see the scriptures as we go. Jeremiah 30, verse 3. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. Jeremiah 31, verse 8 to 10. Verses 8 to 10. Behold, I will bring from the north country and gather them from the coasts of the earth. A great company shall return thither. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34 to 38. And I will bring you out I shall bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of. Well, let me just go to Ezekiel 20, starting in 33, and read it because that's really important. Um, I'll do it out of the text. Ezekiel 20. Oops, what's wrong? Ezekiel 20, verse 33, I believe. Okay. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries whither you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Is he pouring the fury out on those that just got everlasting life? No, I don't see why. He's pouring it out on the nations. He's destroying all the nations he scattered us into. Maybe that means all the nations we're currently scattered into, he'll do it, which is like the same thing anyway. But it could be that. It could be that the interpretation is that he's just going to take care of the nations that we're in now. But that's so many anyway, you know. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. And the word for people is correctly translated. It's It's correct. And there will I plead with you face to face. It doesn't say plead. It's judge you. They keep trying to make like God's going, oh, please listen to me. It's judge. It's not plead. He judges, okay? People are going to get a dirt nap in the desert, in the wilderness. I'm telling you, because they're going to lie, they're going to adultery, cheat, steal, fib, call on the unclean spirit, every crazy thing, you know. Like, you see, he's saving the Israelites and bringing them into the wilderness. Well, we'll read it, you'll see. Like as I pleaded, it's judged. Like as I judged with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I judge with you, saith the Lord God. And you could kind of say plead, and maybe in this sense, either you do this, if you don't do this, I'll do this, you know, bad stuff, right? And he'll do it, you know, it's something like that. But I think he's judging them more, you know. But he might warn them and then give them some rope to hang themselves or to deliver themselves. If you just do what he tells us to do, you have no problem. You just have blessings. It's all good and no bad. When you start going against what he tells us, how we should behave, then the trouble starts. But it's not going to start for us. The blessings are going to flow for us. Or I did a horrible job teaching you, which I don't think I did. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. The rod makes sure that when you're going into the sheep pen, you're not goats or mountain lions or something like that. Okay. And I will purge out from among you. Okay, now let's see the exact words in this. It says, and I will purge out. 5 words. Let's see what the Hebrew is. Barar. So the Hebrew is 1 word. Where did it go? Okay. And the English is using 5 words, so let's see what Strong's tells us the English should be. It has a connotation of make right, or chosen or select. So the ones that are selected are made bright. What a good choice of words, barar. Really good word choice. Arise, shine, your light has come. Okay. So we could say select and make bright, or it could say basically select from among you the rebels. So it could say select from you the rebels. No, it's really saying select from rebels and them that transgress against me. So he's selecting the bad ones. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourned, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am the Lord. As for you, you see, because it's for his name's sake he redeems us, not and brings us to Israel, not because the works are so good. The works are no good. As for you, O house of Israel, it's by faith, by mercy and grace. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Adonai Jehovah, go you and serve everyone his idols. Now, that word idols is a curious word. 1544 in Strong's. Galil. Its barest meaning is a log. Okay, go and serve your logs, he's saying. Or you could maybe say you cut down tree stumps or something, you know? A lot of churches do the log up at the pulpit in the front or the stage, and they call it a cross. Same thing. They never did it in the New Testament. So go you serve your idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. So, are the Satan bots going to get saved? Well, we could say worshiping a demon is an idol. I don't know. Bottom line, I don't know. Depends on the individual, I guess. Some are definitely not going to make it, you know. For in my holy mountain, I'm talking the ones who've had their eyes and their ears closed, maybe, with the heavy heart, because God did that, they might make it. But the ones, then on the other hand, the ones that are working with the unclean spirits, they're not so innocent anymore. And they're pretty evil. So I don't know. Verse 44, in my holy mountain, so Mount Zion's going to come back, in the mountain of the height of Israel, it'll be the highest mountain in Israel where the temple goes. Saith, that's not saying, the mountains aren't very high here in Israel. We don't have any Mount Everest or stuff like that, or the one up in Seattle, I forgot what you call it. We don't have those. There shall all be the house of Israel, all of them in the land. So it's saying, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Adonai Jehovah, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land serve me. There will I accept them. There will I require your and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. Well, this is future, and it means the law is still going to be in effect, just like Matthew 5 says, where Yeshua says, think not that I came to destroy the law, but to fulfill, for as long as there's a heaven and earth, not one jot or tittle shall be done away from the law, and the one that disregards the least of these and teaches men so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, and the one that does them and teaches them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Now, I was telling the guy, doesn't do one of them and teaches the people not to do one of them. What do you do with somebody that teaches the people not to do like 200 of them? Now, I wouldn't be looking for him too much in heaven, you know. I will accept you with a sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you, and that would be made holy. Sanctified means kadosh, be made holy in you before the heathen, the goyim. So the heathen are going to see this, but they're not going to be part of it. And you shall know, not in the sense we will, and you shall know that any true believer is in Israel. And you shall know that I am Jehovah when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers. And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings where you have been defiled, and you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your evils that you have committed. And that's probably one reason why they were this is their sins. And that's why they go into mourning in Zechariah 12 after they see Yeshua in the clouds. You shall loathe yourselves. They're ripping their clothes, throwing dust on themselves, crying, because they were so mean and bad to Yeshua. They said, oh no, what did we do? Oh my gosh, what did we do? And they're realizing all the sins they committed. And you shall know, I wouldn't want to be a rabbi back in those days, especially an expire one. And you shall know that I am Jehovah when I have brought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, you house of Israel, saith Adonai Jehovah. So he's saying it's not because of your great works. It's essentially saying I'm doing it mercy, grace, Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, turn thy face towards the south. And, well, this could be talking about Yemen, and that's where it probably is. But we'll leave that go for now. Oh, I could read it, I guess. Turn your face towards the south and drop thy word towards the south and prophesy against the forest of the south Negev is, it's more like a desert, but the south field. And say to the forest of the south, hear the word of the Lord, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I, or Jehovah, I don't know, Jehovah, I will kindle a fire in thee, and it shall devour every green tree. I will kindle a fire in thee, and it shall devour every green tree in thee, and every dry tree. The flaming flame shall not be quenched, and all faces from the south to the north shall be burned therein, and all flesh will see that Jehovah have kindled it. It shall not be quenched. Then said I, Ah, Lord God, Adonai Jehovah, they say of me, doth I not speak parables? Well, it's probably referencing Yemen, which is Edom, which is going to get destroyed and nobody will ever live in it again. It could also be Saudi Arabia, but I'm thinking more so towards Edom, but it remains to be seen. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, that's a real important one. So we did that in depth. Okay, let's go back and keep going. Now we're in Ezekiel 36:24. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Well, he's taken us out of all countries, was not the Babylon return, was not coming out of Egypt. You know, it's different. We never really came out completely from the Roman captivity. It's still ongoing, I guess. But I wouldn't call it that. So that's unfulfilled, okay, from all countries. Hosea 3, 4, and 5. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king. Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God and David their king, and shall fear Jehovah and his goodness in the latter days. Well, that's because they're going to have, the Holy Spirit, and they're going to all know him from the least to the greatest. Hosea 1, 10 and 11. In the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. There shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together. That's going to be in Israel, near you. Micah 4, verses 6 and 7. In that day, saith the Lord, will I assemble her that halteth, that doesn't walk right, and I will gather her that is driven out. And her that I have afflicted, and I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast out a strong nation. That's what's going to happen with us. Zechariah 8, verses 7 and 8. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. Amos 9:14-15. And I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land. Out of their land which I have given them, saith Jehovah Elohim. So the land that he gives us, we never leave it again. Well, we never leave the land again since 48. We never have, and we never will. Think about it. Never have, never will. Zechariah, we temporarily returned a piece, the Sinai Peninsula, and, Gaza, I guess. Zephaniah 3:19-20. Behold, at that time I will undo at that time I will undo all that afflict thee. So that's all our enemies are undone. In other words, adios, enemies. I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. That's us. That's you all, true believers in Yeshua HaMashiach. For I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Lord. Turn the captivity back before their eyes is them saying, like, is this really happening? Is this true? I couldn't pay the electric bill. Now I got all this money. I got people working for me. I got servants, Soon, very soon. Okay, let me see if there's any questions in here. I don't know if I have any. I don't think so. So that's a pretty good run. And another place it says they'll no longer talk about, I think it's in Jeremiah 23, they'll no longer talk about Moses' deliverance. Okay, from this Exodus. I'll find that for you. Let me look it up. Jeremiah 23, verse 7. I'll read you. Jeremiah 23, verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that they shall no more say, Jehovah liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. but the Lord liveth, which is brought and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries whither I have driven them. They shall dwell in their own land. My heart within me is broken because the prophets, all my because of the prophets, all my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine hath overcome, because of the Lord, and because of the word of his holiness. For the land full of adultery, for because of swearing, the land mourneth, the pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil. Okay. So the deliverance is that great that we're no longer going to talk about Moses. Does that mean that when we have the tabernacle will be in the wilderness, and maybe the glory of God of Israel is in that tabernacle at that time? I don't know. I don't read about that anywhere, so I don't know. Will the two witnesses be in the wilderness with them? Well, I don't know how that works, because somebody's got to be here in Israel. Maybe, I don't know. The anointed prince could be here, or Apostle John could be here. I don't know. We're not told these things. I don't have any strong reason to believe the two witnesses will be picking the people up and taking them out of the country. I think Jehovah's going to do it, but maybe they do. You got me on that. I don't know. Obviously, there's not a need for us to know today, or we would know. So it'll happen when it happens. The second Exodus will start right after Yeshua appears. The trumpet will be blown. Every eye shall see him, but only the true believers are going to get changed to everlasting life. The Israelites will get changed also and become believers. The Spirit will be poured out on. They shall all know me, from the least to the greatest. Thus I'll no longer go around saying, know the Lord. I'll put the law in their heart. I'll give them a heart of flesh. Put the law in their inward parts. So they're going to know a lot of things. Maybe when the glory of God of Israel comes to the temple and he tells them, this is the law of the temple, this is the law of this. Maybe that's before this happens, because if it was after that happened and they had the law inside them, they would know the law of the temple. I thought about that yesterday. Can I say for sure that's right? No, but it's an interesting theory. I think it happens, the Exodus happens when we see Yeshua in the clouds, and we change to everlasting life, and everybody starts coming on the Exodus to Israel, but the people stop in the wilderness to come to Israel. The Israelites don't leave Israel and come back to Israel. That's church garbage they teach. We never leave the land behind. They don't do that. And when you read Zechariah 12, he pours the Spirit out on them here, and then they see Yeshua. So they're believers because the Spirit was poured out on them just before they see Yeshua, and then they get changed into everlasting life, which is not immortality. And the temple is probably there first, but it doesn't have the glory of God of Israel yet. When the Spirit is poured out on them, it's likely that they do get this glory of God of Israel after Elijah gets the Levites to get the offerings correct, which probably, as a guess, brings on the appearing of Yeshua, because that would bring the blessings of the law on us. And then when Yeshua appears, the glory God of Israel will come as our reward. And everything's going to reverse. The stuff's going to be a double portion of good. You're going to be loaded with the good stuff. You're not going to have the bad stuff. You're not going to be crying. You're not going to be worrying. You're not going to be suffering. You're not going to be poor. You're not going to have problems, And he runs the unclean spirits out of Israel. It says that early on in Zechariah 13 and verse 1 or 2. So you're not going to even, you'll be in Israel and there's no demons here. Imagine that. I don't know how to imagine it. They won't be in Israel. They'll be on earth, not in Israel. It changes all for the better for us. And all things work for good to those who love the Lord, so I can't wait for things to progress. And to the world, it's a lot of ugliness coming. But not to us. I mean, it's ugliness, you could say that, but it all things work for good for those who love the Lord, so it doesn't go against us at all. Okay. So I hope you got something out of that. You can send me suggestions for what you want me to cover in prophecy next. I think I'll debunk the rapture maybe, or go through some of the commonly misinterpreted scriptures. Thessalonians, 1 Peter 3, stuff like that. I may do that next. That sounds like a good one, actually. Okay, so I'll pray at this point. My Heavenly Father, Jehovah, I pray, B'Shem Yeshua Mashiach, for all the true believers, that your peace, safety, protection, joy be on all of us and our households and kids and families. And I pray we'd be happy, healthy, and whole, and safe and secure. And I pray our animals and pets would also be safe, secure, and happy, healthy, and whole. And I pray your healing and recuperative power would flow through all of us and our animals and pets, and we would be healing up. And I pray we have strength, stamina, endurance, and we understand the scriptures better. And we have adequate finances and then some. And I pray we would be able to be together physically, so we can gather in your name and you could be in the midst of us. And I pray that you get the bad doctrine out of us and we just get what's left is just good doctrine. And I pray you lift from us all the persecutions and problems brought on by the demons and the unclean spirits, wherever their source might be: landlords, employers, co-workers, neighbors, governments, cities, counties, states, corporations, businesses, churches, whatever is bringing it, doctors, medical, anything. We pray you lift all these problems and difficulties off us and give us peace, calm, rest, and joy, and that we walk in your shalom peace with the gifts of the Spirit flowing from us and operating in us. And I pray all this to you, my Heavenly Father, accordingly, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you guys can agree. And I hope you got something out of this. And just a reminder, if you didn't hear it, the GoFundMe thing is dead as a doornail. Don't use GoFundMe anymore. Okay? I don't get the money. And if you did use it, just ask your credit card processor to get it back. They've had me cut off from the account for a long time, and they're trying to collect money, and they're not giving it to me, and they won't return it to you for 4 months, if they ever do, which I think they will. So you can go to your credit card processor and get the money back, and you can email me and ask me questions. If any of you need to talk to me, we could set up on WhatsApp. I used to have a Skype phone. Skype went out of business some months ago, so I don't have a Skype phone. WhatsApp killed Skype. Skype was charging a few bucks a month to have an outgoing line and a few bucks for an incoming line. So I had an American phone number people can call, and I was able to call out to America and Canada, but they're out of business, so I can't do anything about that. So we have to use WhatsApp, which is not very difficult, and it's completely free. And it's pointless, I think, for me to go out and pay money to get another service, to get an American phone number. It's just moronic. I don't know why. WhatsApp is there. It's very good, easy to use. Okay, guys, I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I hope you got something out of this. You could ask me questions, and I thank you for your prayers. Sometimes I think I just ride on your prayers, and I'm out. Thanks.